Hey guys, good morning. It's Wednesday, the 28th of September 2016. It's 9:30 AM here in the UK. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about a subject I haven't covered yet, to do with backache and MS. But before that, I just want to tell you a little bit about yesterday. Wasn't a great day for me. I sort of woke up, or rather should I say I was woken up by this little person. Please allow me to introduce Molly. Molly is almost 19 years old and she has dementia. Usually between sort of 5 and 6 in the morning, although it can be actually any time of the night, she decides to wake me up and tell me how empty her dish is and that she needs me to do something about it. Don't you? Anyway, so that is where my day started yesterday, with this little furry thing. I hope everybody can hear me okay, because I've had to plug the camera into the power. Battery decided to run out on me. So, okay, so yesterday, now I've introduced you to Molly, my little companion. It was about 5-6 o'clock in the morning and I'd been to bed. Sleeping isn't a great thing that has a habit of happening for me really, but I might talk about that in another video. So it's between 5-6 o'clock in the morning, I don't know exactly what time, and my little furry friend decides that she's hungry and that she wants her breakfast. So I'm lying there in bed on my back. I tend to always sleep on my back, and guess what? My chest is hurting me. It's about a 5 out of 10, which is usually during the day it's about sort of 2 to 3, but it's about a 5. Normally, those of you that have are sort of up to date with all my videos, you will know that I suffer quite considerably from this chronic chest pain, and more often than not actually, I usually lie down to sort of relax the muscles in my chest, and that tends to calm the chest pain down. But I've noticed just lately that lying down several hours, i.e. going to bed, brings it on. So I'm like lying down in a relaxed position in bed and my chest is at like a 5. A 5 is quite considerable, because between 5 and 6 I'm like holding my chest, and I can actually sort of apply a tiny bit of pressure with my arm just across the bottom of my rib cage. I'll try and show you what I mean. Hang on. I must try and get round to getting a stand for this camera. It's currently just sort of perched on the fireplace at the moment. So I'm going to try and show you where the chest pain starts and what I have to do to sort of help. The chest pain starts sort of there in my sternum area, right in the centre of my chest, just there, and it radiates down my rib cage there. On a really bad day it starts to go around the side as well, and I have to like get my arm and just apply like a tiny bit of pressure there, and that just helps kind of relieve the pain. Well, it just takes it down a notch and allows me to cope basically. So that's an idea of what I have to do. Hang on. So by the end of yesterday I literally felt like I'd done a couple of rounds with Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson had the baseball bat, if you know what I mean. I mean, this chest pain, I know I keep going on about it and you're probably fed up of hearing about it, but I can't get to the bottom of it. Doctors say it's classic MS. I just don't know. I'm beginning to think it is. Well, I do think it is, because nothing else can explain it really, but for me it's a real showstopper it really affects my quality of life. I can't work because of it. You know, I've worked since I was 17 years old. I'm 44 now. This chest pain over the last sort of 3 years is just like been so bad, and now I'm just unable to do my job. It's just thank you, Molly. Molly has joined me. So anyway, moan over about the chest pain. I'm now going to talk about the backache that the backache and the weakness that I experience. As a rule, my back isn't painful. Well, it's not painful all of the time, but it is very weak, and the weakness comes from the bottom of my back. For those of you that are up to date with all my videos, you will know that I had a decompression on a disc in my lumbar, in the lumbar region of my back, and then I had a review a couple of months later, back in 2012. That's all healed up and that's all good, and MRI scans have proved that's okay and all this, but the weakness in my back is phenomenal. So the question is the weakness in my back caused by the decompression I had, or is it caused by the MS? That is the question. So statistically, I would imagine there are absolutely thousands, tens of thousands of people throughout the country and the whole world that have had lumbar decompressions, and they're absolutely fine. Athletics have had it, they're absolutely fine. You know, I can't imagine a lumbar decompression causing this kind of weakness, so I can only imagine it's the MS. And I'm very, very interested to know if any other MS sufferers experience the kind of symptoms that I'm going to explain to you in a minute. Well, I'm going to explain to you now, actually. Okay, so for example, if I have been... That's Molly. Yeah, she's just eaten and now she's meowing at walls, or... Anyway, what was I saying? Shut up a bit. Sorry about that. Right, I think peace reigns for at least a few more minutes. Give me a chance to finish this video off. Molly is now probably asleep with the furry dog on the bed, her best friend. Okay, back. Okay, I don't get, well now I don't get that much pain in my back, but I do get an awful lot of weakness, and this weakness exhibits itself primarily, or it's at its worst, when I've been sitting for long periods of time. So if I'm out with my good wife and we're at a restaurant or something like that, and we've been sitting having some dinner or a coffee or something, she knows if I've been sat for a while, before I get up, she's there with a hand ready to sort of help me, because she knows I just will not be able to walk very well at all. I will not. I go to stand up and my back is so stiff and my legs are just sort of wobbling and shaking all over the place, and walking basically isn't happening very well. This is every time. As long as I've been sat for quite a long period of time, that's very key. If I haven't been sat for a long period, so say 2 minutes or 5 minutes, I'm not too bad. It's the longer periods of time I've been sat where it's really quite troublesome. Another example is the car. So obviously when you're driving, you're sat in one fixed position as a rule for however long. And usually the car is quite bad actually. I can do even a short journey, 5-10 minutes. I go to get out the car and I've got to be mega careful. You know, walking once again doesn't happen very well when I get out the car. The car is especially troublesome, to be honest, and I get a lot of, I would say most of my back pain is from driving, is in the car. It really is high on the list of giving me some serious grief with my back. Like I say, a lot of the problems I have with my back is weakness mainly, but I do get considerable pain, but the pain isn't there all the time, but when it comes, it really hits me hard. I get like a lacerating pain, which isn't, it's not like it's not an achy muscular pain, although I do get that as well, but not too much. The lacerating pain is like a cutting pain, a sharp, sore pain. And I always used to think to myself, well, surely I get that round about the area of the scar on my back where I had the decompression, but it's usually higher up than that. To give me a bit of relief, my wife tends to rub some Voltarol anti-inflammatory cream into my back, and she really massages it into my back for me, and it's always up the spine. It's always up the spine, and it's usually, as a rule, much higher, quite a bit higher than where my scar is, funnily enough. Lastly, the other really troublesome thing is, like I said, you know, when I've been sat in the same position for long periods of time, that's when it's at its worst. But the absolute ultimate worst is when I've been in bed all night. It's like when I go to get up in the morning, well, I've been up several times in the night to the loo anyway, but when I go to get up in the morning, it's like I am walking around holding onto walls, holding onto my bed. My back isn't hurting, it's just so weak, and my legs are just wobbling and flapping all over the place, and I'm like, you know, I'm walking around the bed, holding onto the bed, then I eventually get to the door and hold onto the door, then the door frame, then I've got the banisters to go downstairs. It's just absolutely ridiculous for the first few minutes in the morning. That's pretty much the worst of it. So I don't believe that this is caused by a decompression. It's got to be MS related. It's got to be the muscles in my back not receiving the correct signals, well, receiving the signals and sending back the correct signals to the brain properly. The electricity supply has been disrupted, kind of thing. So you know, not working properly. It's got to be. I'm really interested to hear from anybody that's got MS and suffers the same or very similar sort of set of symptoms to myself, because I find this one of the biggest problems for me, obviously from a mobility standpoint. So that's really about all I've got to say about my back. There's nothing else I can think of to to sort of talk about. I mean, when my back's okay, you know, it's great, it's fine, you know, I get around okay, but on the days, sometimes I can have some really mega bad days, and it's usually a few times, well, at least once a week, to be honest. As always, guys, it's really great to hear from anybody, and it doesn't matter what you want to talk to me about. That's absolutely fine. I always try and respond within 24 hours. I've had some great comments from some great people, and lots of likes, and all I can say is please continue to subscribe if you are enjoying my videos as much as I enjoy making them. Cheers for now, guys. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Bye for now.